To this now, and residents of Nomzamo in Soweto say they are now living in fear. This follows the shooting spree in July, which claimed 16 lives. This week, 2 suspects have been arrested in connection with the shooting and will appear in court on Monday. But residents say they want answers from those arrested. eNCA's Moloko Moloto is in Nomzamo in Soweto and joins us now for an update. So this incident happened in July, Moloko, and I don't imagine, though, that the residents and people who were affected, directly affected, have been able to even find closure. And I do imagine that they must still be pretty traumatized. You spoke to one of the victims, one of the people who was there when this happened.
That is very true, Tula Sizwe. In fact, on that day, in July this year, it was just an ordinary day for the majority of the people who live in this informal settlement. And because of lack of recreational facilities, they tended to go to a local tavern called Kwamdlalose. And among them was a 19-year-old who unfortunately died as the gunmen went on a shooting spree. We know that a total of 23 people were shot on that day, and about 12 of them died at the scene. 2 others died on their way to hospital, whereas 2 others died when they were in hospital. Some of them understand that they have been discharged. Some of those who were injured were discharged from hospital, but I understand that there's just one who is still in hospital. There hasn't been much progress, but I've managed to speak to Lubabalo Mtambo, who says he was there on the night the gunmen stormed into the tavern. He recounted the incident on that day, saying that at first he had the gunshots and he suspected that they were simply crackers. Perhaps young children were playing outside, but that did not stop, and that's when they suspected that they were actually under attack. And when the gunmen walked into the tavern, he says they started shooting without even trying to talk to them. And he says he survived simply because he had to lie on the floor and pretended to be dead, and he believes that that actually was the reason he survived. Very strange, because Tula Sizwe, if you would recall, the police minister Bekicele, when he came here days after that attack, he said that police found that there were about 137 cartridges of AK-47. So you can understand that if those gunmen were using assault rifles, their intention really was to kill. But let's listen to Lubabalo as he was reliving that particular moment when the gunmen were shooting at them.
Uyazi mfowethu indlela ababedubula ngayo laba bantu laba, ngangiqala ukuyizwa isound echo kanje esibhamini ekhala ithi gugugugugugugugugugu, ichange sound, ithi ga ga ga, iphinde ichange futhi ithi gugugugugu. And mfowethu ngendlela yayicho ngayo ngayizwa kahle ukuthi yazi lapha yana la idubula khona lo muntu is like uyaba grinder labantu benza lento okuthiwa i-mix meat ngangendlela wayenza ngakhona mfowethu, yabo, because the meantime sisicho lesi spam lesi, everything man is shaking, yabona. And uyabona ukuthi lo muntu lona kwaphela ikhasethi wabuye wafaka elinye. Uyazi namfowethu ngigcine esikhala kanjalo isibhamu, yayibona into njalo, because silandelwa isiphakathi naso sithi gu 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 gu.
So, Moloko, there are these 2 suspects now that have been arrested. And in your engagements with some of the community members, they're saying they would want to directly engage with the suspects. What's that all about?
Well, Tula Sizwe, you would recall that when Police Minister Bekicele came to the area, he said that they have identified 5 people and they were tracing for them. And the residents in their interaction with the minister indicated that while there had been that particular massacre, every day, every night in the area, there are gunshots and they live in fear. Now, the police minister then promised, and he did fulfill that promise, to bring the police's tactical response unit. These are the police officers known as Amaberet, and their primary task really is to deal with violent crime. Now, they came to this area for a number of days. You would recall that we were even part of their operations here, but at some point they left, and the residents are saying, look, since they have left, gunshots have become the order of the day. We don't feel safe. They also fear that the gunmen who actually came to massacre their people here at some point may return. Now, we spoke to some of the residents. They are saying, since the two people were arrested last week, they actually want to, have an engagement with them even before they appear in court tomorrow, because they want to know why did they have to kill their people, and want to know whether they are working together or not. And if they are working with somebody else, they would want to know such a person. Let's listen to one of the residents that we spoke to.
Andinalo ithemba kahle kahle ukuthi khona okungenzeka kubo. Thina besifile ngathi singakwazi ukubabona ngeso lenyama kanje. Uhulumende asibonise sibone ukuthi laba abantu bazizilwanyana benze into embi kanje apha. Ingaba ngabantu abaphilayo na?
And Moloko, you and I are talking about two suspects having been arrested, but you'll recall that at the time of the incident, there was talk of 5 suspects being sought. Help us make sense. Are these 2 part of the 5, or is this, an additional 2 over and above to the 5, and the 5 is still out there at large?
Well, Thulasizwe, the police have always been confident that they will be able to arrest the suspects. Just during those days when we were here, we spoke to the MEC of Community Safety here, Memazibuko, who told eNCA that as the police, they have managed to actually even obtain a CCTV footage which captured the faces of those gunmen. And she was confident that it will be able to assist the authorities to arrest the suspects. Now, last week we heard the police saying that they have arrested 2 people which they believe are linked positively to this Soweto Tavern massacre. Now, earlier on, I reached out to the police's provincial spokesperson, Captain Brenda Murudili, on the phone and asked, given the fact that earlier this month the police issued the names of 5 people they said they were looking for, warrant of arrest were issued against them. They gave us those names. So I asked whether the 2 men who have been arrested, who will be appearing in court tomorrow, are part of those 5 people, and she said no, they are not part of the 5. So she did not really go into detail as to whether the 5 will be arrested anytime soon or not. But I guess as the 2 will be certainly appearing at the Orlando Magistrates Court, the expectation is that the NPA together with the police will kind of like shed more light about whether there will be more arrests or not.
All right, Moloko, let's leave it there for now. That's eNCA's Moloko Moloto there out in Nomzamo in Soweto, tracking that story for us.